Alright guys, so upon request, I've got a customization video today. So I'm going to show you guys how to customize your trigger, how to customize your feed neck, and how to change the modes, firing modes, and some of the basic modes on the board, okay? So first off with the board. If you guys want to follow along with me with the G4 manual that comes with your marker, first off we're going to be on page 24, okay? So over here are listed all the different things you could change upon the board. Right now we're going to mainly look at rate of fire and firing mode, because if you don't know much about board programming, those are the two main things you're going to want to mess around with to really personalize your gun. The rest you don't really need to worry about too much. It's just ram point, trigger debounce, solenoid dwell, and ABS dwell. So those, if you want further customization, that you're going to have to experience around a little bit, because each one is pretty tricky to play with, okay? So first off, go into programming mode. You do so by holding down the trigger, turn on the marker, let go of the power button, and let go of the trigger. So right now, as you can see, you should be on a red light. You can cycle through all the different programming modes, but right now we're going to look at red. Red is rate of fire. The minimum rate of fire is 5 balls per second. The maximum rate of fire is 35 balls per second. So if you want to program the rate of fire on your marker, hit the power button once. It'll blink to tell you how many times the board is currently set on. Tap it again to edit it. So right now, I'm just going to tap the trigger 15 times to set it to 15 balls per second, alright? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So right now that I got 15, I tap it. Now it's going to tell me 15 times, because that's how many times I pushed it. And then you can skip this if you want. Tap the trigger again, you're back in programming mode, you get the next mode. Okay? This is green. So right now, green is firing modes. I tap it, right now it's on 1, meaning it's semi-automatic. Tap it again to change the modes. I'll go 1, 2, tap it again. Then it'll tell me 1, 2. 2 is PSP 3-shot. 3 is NXL full auto. And 4 is Millennium ramping. Alright? So those could be referred to on page 25 if you want to look at those. Now, of course, there's further modes that you can look into, but for just basic customization of the board, those are the two you're going to want to look at, alright? After that, you just turn off your marker, and after that, you can turn it back on, and just go in normal mode, alright? Okay, so next is the feed neck. Feed neck is pretty basic. I'm going to try to make it so you guys can see. There's not that much you can do with the feed neck, but some people like to have the screw to tighten the feed neck in the back, so you can actually spin around and then reclamp it if you like that better. Me, I like it up here, so you can see the black detail and it's easier to clamp. If you need to tighten it, you're going to turn this little knob over here clockwise, so going this way. If you need to loosen it, counterclockwise that way, okay? Make sure not to tighten it too much, because you don't want to break the feed neck off your hopper. It's always annoying to buy a new shell. Depending on your hopper, it could cost $20, $30, or $40 to buy a new shell. So you want to be careful with that. But you also don't want it too loose, so where it could fall off and could break altogether. So you just got to find the right balance to put it. The halo shells, you're going to want something looser, because the feed necks are pretty big. Rotors, a little bit smaller, and velocities have a very small feed neck, okay? And then last but not least, trigger adjustment. Now this can be very tricky, and people like their triggers very different. You're going to get these two Allen keys out, okay? These are the two smallest Allen keys that came with the gun. This second smallest Allen key is only going to change one of the 4-point adjustments. The smallest one is going to change the other 3, okay? So right now we're going to put the bigger one down of the 2 and just use this one. So as you can see over here on the gun, I'm going to try to get you guys a little bit of light here. Over here, there's 3 different points that you can look at. The gray one is not editable. Just so you know, that's the point of pivot, meaning that's where the point that's the trigger is fixed on, meaning it's going to pivot around that point. So you can't change that. So don't try to spin it with the Allen key. It's not going to work. The top one of the 2 is back return, meaning when you pull the trigger, how far back is it going to go before it stops moving. This one over here, right below it, is how close your trigger is to the micro switch. So if you turn it counterclockwise like this, it's going to be really far away, alright? You can make it super far away. If you loosen it a lot, you're going to notice that your trigger is going to be very tough to pull. And that's terrible. I don't know why you guys would want that, but if that's what you want, go ahead and do it. Just be careful. It's going to be hard to walk the trigger. Also be careful, because if you put it too close and you hear it click, it's best to edit the trigger while the marker is on, because if you put it too close, it'll actually keep the micro switch in the on position at all times, and you're not going to be able to fire your marker unless you loosen it a little bit for it to be able to move and activate the micro switch, alright? So that's what those two do. Alright. So we got another one right over here. This one is actually inside the trigger. This one's a little bit trickier to find, but you'll be able to get it. If you loosen it or tighten it, it's just going to change where the tab hits the micro switch. So you got the micro switch over here, and there's a tab. You can either hit it here, you could hit it down here, you could hit it in the middle, okay? So that's going to change pretty much the sensitivity of your marker and how much you got to pull the trigger just to be able to touch the macro line. Alright, so we're done with this Allen key. Put this one down. Go to the slightly larger Allen key. And the last point is up here above the trigger, okay? It's going to be right under the top of the trigger. Over here. If you loosen it, that's pretty much how much magnetic return there is on the marker. So the more you adjust it, the fastest it's going to come back from being on the on position. So like you can pull the trigger and it's going to kick back right away because there's going to be a lot of magnetic force on it. But if you loosen it, then there's not going to be that much, so it's going to take a little bit longer for it to return. But it's not going to be as tight, so it'll be a little bit looser. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. If you got any other questions, let me know. And I'm going to make a shooting video soon. All right. Thanks.